Elsa Halling, and Elsa is going to read from her short story, Cora. Cora is about a child brought up by her aging grandmother and cursed with a name she hates, Cora Grace Lillian Coxon. The other children in her school call her Carroty Cora Coxon because of her auburn hair, and this makes her shy and isolated. At this point in the story, the class teacher has just informed the class about the singers who will be taking part in a forthcoming music festival.
Solo, please. Was I doing a solo? The butterflies whirled around in my insides again, and suddenly I felt very sick. I couldn't possibly stand on the stage by myself. Even worse, they'd have to read out my name. Worst of all, it would appear in the printed programme. Our teacher, Miss Richards, had told us about that. All my joy at being selected for the choir evaporated in an instant. Gran was delighted when I told her the news. "Oh, don't think about the rest of the audience," she told me. "I'll be there, so just look at me and sing for me." I wasn't sure I believed her. The choir practiced hard in the weeks before the festival, and I practiced even harder. Apart from the sessions I had with Miss Richards at lunchtimes, Gran drilled me in the words and music at home, but singing gave me a dry throat, which added to my anxiety. What if I have a dry throat when I have to sing my solo? I worried, but Gran had an answer for that. "You can take a little bottle of water with you and have a drink to wet your whistle before you do your piece." I wasn't convinced, but Gran assured me it would work. There was great excitement when the day of the festival arrived. A coach was hired to take the singers and their parents to the town hall, and we arrived far too quickly for my liking. Inside it was huge, like a massive version of the chapel we went to every Sunday morning, and nothing at all like our school hall. I felt sure my voice would get lost in that great big echoing space. On each seat was a programme, and we read that our school would be the third to sing. I also noticed that on the page bearing the list of soloists, I would be the fourth to perform, after Annabelle Anderson, and ahead of Suzanne Fraser. Cora Coxon stood out like an ugly wart between such pretty names. When our turn came, we filed onto the platform and arranged ourselves as Miss Richards had instructed us. I thought we did pretty well with Clementine. One of the boys sang a wrong note in the final refrain, but it was a good effort. Then came the solos. All the soloists had to wait in a queue backstage for their turn. I took a mouthful of water from the bottle that Gran had given me, but quickly wished I hadn't. Although Gran had washed it thoroughly before filling it with fresh water, it still tasted of its previous contents. Cuddly Roy. I quietly dropped the bottle in a wastepaper basket. Miss Richards had made sure that we all went to the toilet as soon as we arrived at the town hall, but I was desperate again. I stood with my legs crossed and pulled in my stomach as tight as I could and waited for them to announce my name. "Cora Coxon from Hallows Heath Junior School." Heart pounding, I walked onto the platform and stared at the sea of faces looking back at me. Gran was sitting in the middle of the hall, immediately behind all the school children, so it was easy to look at just her. The pianist played the introduction. I forgot about my need for the toilet and about the faint taste of cod liver oil in my mouth. I blotted out everyone except Gran, just opened my mouth and sang. "And the winner is..." We waited, not daring to breathe, as the organiser came onto the platform to make the announcement we'd all been waiting for. "Princess Drive Junior School." Of course we were disappointed. There were sighs and long faces. We were better than them, somebody muttered grumpily. And then the next award was announced. Under 10 solo, Cora Coxon from Hallows Heath Junior School. I felt the heat creep up my face and my cheeks burned. "Will Cora Coxon please come forward to receive her medal?" It was the longest walk of my life. "Well done, Cora," the organiser boomed. "Why does he have to keep repeating my name?" I groaned under my breath. Why couldn't it have been Annabelle or Suzanne who'd won? I managed to reach the platform without tripping up and stood meekly while the medal was hung around my neck. I remembered to whisper thank you before I scurried off the stage. Many years later, after Gran had died, I had to go through her things. In a battered brown case under her bed, I found her letters and papers, and beneath them a fat envelope containing the programmes of all the concerts and festivals I had ever taken part in. They were grubby and yellowing through age, and much fingered. The thicker ones fell open at one particular page, the page which bore my name. As I looked through them, I could remember them all. They had made me sign each one. I could see how my handwriting had changed through the years, and recall how insistent she had been that I write my full name, Cora Lillian Grace Coxon, and not just GLC Coxon. She died before my first record was released. Old-fashioned vinyl it was, with my face filling the front of the sleeve. I was sad that she never knew about it. She would have been so proud. But I was relieved about one thing. She didn't see the name on the label. Coral Grace. So much nicer, don't you think?